Welcome everyone to ScreenFish Radio. Actually, welcome everyone to SlamFish Radio. Um, this is our weird time of year for us. It becomes somewhat of a tradition as we break a little bit of our film talk to talk about something else on screen, to talk about some pro wrestling, which is now available pretty much everywhere on Netflix. And we have brought back some incredible veteran teams. I want to say that the champ is here with Dave Voigt from In the Seats. Welcome back, Dave.
But can you see me? That's the big question.
And he's not the bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's the guy. I would like to welcome back to Kirk Haviland. Welcome, Kirk.
Hello, hello. Kind of fitting after what came out of the news from yesterday, but I'll take it. I'll start in hot. Did you not hear what happened yesterday?
What happened yesterday?
Becky Lynch basically confirmed that she's not wrestling anymore.
Oh, she said maybe.
What she said was, "I'm not wrestling anymore, but maybe in a few years, like maybe down the line, I'll come back." She's officially taking time off to raise her kid, which I completely and utterly understand.
When plus the acting gigs are going well with Star Trek and a few other things she's got going on. So
exactly. So she gets to spend more
other
time.
Avenues where she can, yeah.
She gets to spend more time with her baby. The baby gets to be around, and she's not physically injuring herself. So she's prioritizing her kid, which I completely understand. But it's just kind of the internet kind of blew up yesterday because she confirmed it on some sort of sketch variety thing that she was doing. She confirmed that she will not be wrestling for the near future, which is the first time she'd actually said it publicly.
I had wondered that, and I had wondered if maybe they were going to have more kids too. So that could be something.
Yeah, she's in her 30s. If you're going to have more kids, now is when you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll probably, there's no way she's not going to come back for a retirement run. But at this point in time, that might not be for another 4 or 5 years.
And I mean, she's in good enough shape, and I mean, the company's in good enough shape that they can transition her into being a part-timer. That it's not going to affect anybody.
Right now they have more females under contract than at any other point in time in the history of their company. There's more female wrestlers in NXT than there is male.
Her legacy is cemented. It doesn't matter at this stage for Becky. Good for her.
Exactly. No, she's cemented her legacy. They don't really need her. They've got women all over the place that can hop in and take that spot.
Yeah.
We don't need to have Charlotte Flair rammed down our throat anymore.
That was where I was going to go with that. That was exactly what I was feeling. But I mean, of course, here we are. WrestleMania 41 is upon us. The 2-night extravaganza it has been for the last 3 years. 3 years? This is their third year.
No, since 2020.
Yeah, I was about to say
that long.
Yeah,
it was the WrestleMania went to 2 nights on COVID. Yeah,
that's because they couldn't have all the same people in the building at the same time, so they had to stretch it to 2 nights.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. Absolutely, that's right, because they only have half the amount of people.
It was the first night of Mania that ended with the Taker AJ cinematic match, and then it was the title match that ended the second night.
Right,
and that still to this day is the best version of a cinematic match ever.
Oh, that's them's fighting words because.
Oh no, that Taker AJ match is beautiful. But I also think about it. It's also been 5 years since we've seen Taker wrestle in a ring or in any form of match. I mean, he showed up last year for that whole little one shot thing.
Yes. Taker's doing his live show. He's doing his reality TV.
Yeah, I mean that's why. I mean, it's wild that it's been that long since we had
it's true.
Taker. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
because Taker was a mainstay for what 21 years.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that the Firefly Funhouse match is pretty special in its own right.
I'd say that's probably number 2 or number 3 for me.
Number 3. Because what's the other one?
The first Hardy compound match, which wasn't WWE, but the first Hardy compound match is beautiful.
Yeah, they did back. It's back
amazing.
in TNA. It's pretty bonkers.
Yes. So I mean, that was like the one that started the whole cinematic match trend, and
Mm.
it's still one of the best ever done. But you're right, Firefly. Those are, for me, those are my top three. The Taker AJ, the Hardy Compound match, and the Firefly Funhouse. Those are the top three. Whatever order you want to put them in is up to you, but those, in my opinion, are the top three.
That's fair.
And I have no idea how we started on cinematic matches, but anyway.
Well, we were talking about two nights. So
Yeah.
now, Kirk, you were saying, now I can look it up, but I know you said you had it there. Can you talk about the
Yep.
lineups?
Yeah.
Tell us the lineups for day one
Yeah.
and day two.
I've got it here. Bleacher Report published it yesterday. So for night one, it's Jay Uso versus Gunther, War Raiders versus the New Day, which just got announced on Saturday.
And apparently they're going to add some sort of stip to it potentially. We're going to find out next week or this coming Monday.
Yeah. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable. I'm not calling him. And
El Grande Americano.
When it's not Chad Gable, everybody's gonna freak. I'm telling you.
I do appreciate the fact that they're redoing the whole Mr. USA Hulk Hogan gimmick with Chad Gable. It's good for a laugh. I'll be 100% honest. Tiffy versus Charlotte Flair, and LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. And of course the main event is CM Punk and Seth and Roman. So that's night one. Do you want to go through night two?
Well, let's talk about night one first. Maybe that's
what I mean.
Let's go through it one night. Like this is, I think we were saying before we started recording, this is such an interesting year because for the last few years we've had a very clear path.
Yep.
But they've been juking and jiving left and right for the last few months, and it feels like I would like to know how it feels like to you guys. It's felt like to me we don't have a clearer direction this year.
Yes and no. I mean, I think part of it is due to just the nature of sort of how they've laid it out. Because, I mean, some of the builds, especially early on, I mean, given sort of the gap between Elimination Chamber and now Mania, they gave themselves almost a little bit too much time for the build, which kind of led to a few of these feuds to start off a little kind of haphazardly, which didn't help. That's one thing. Kevin Owens, obviously, with the injury, that doesn't help either. But also, this is the first year for WrestleMania where I've noticed they're so focused on the get the tickets to the after party with so and so, go to the Hall of Fame with so and so, go see Undertaker show with so and so, the roast of so and so. They've turned it into such a multimedia sort of event that like they could have booked Miz versus Karrion Kross for 7 matches in a row and the place would still be full. It's one of those things where not every build had to be perfect. It just had to be kind of good enough. But I mean, we still have some interesting stuff on the card. Like, I mean, Jade versus Naomi, even. It's the first time we've had a sort of grudge match female feud on the Mania main card that didn't have a belt involved. That's kind of wild. That's wild to me. That's the first female match without a belt involved we've ever had in the history of WrestleMania, and that's good for them.
I'm
But
sorry.
also,
It's the first female non-belt match, one-on-one?
non-belt match.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't realize that.
but I love. But I mean,
Go
just
ahead.
through the whole card, I think night one has kind of backed its way into being the more interesting story
Wow.
because as much as sort of they were leading with their foot forward with Cody and Cena, I would almost say that like Cody and Cena on night two is not only the B story, but maybe even the C story at this stage because they've stumbled into some good matches and some good builds, especially in the last couple of weeks. Because as we tape now, we've got one more Raw and one more SmackDown before the show hits next weekend. And so all of what we're about to talk about may change drastically. So who knows?
And see, this is the interesting dichotomy of it all, too, because for me, I have little to no interest in night one. There's nothing there for me. I mean, the Jade Naomi match is that one I'm gonna watch holding my breath because I don't think Naomi is strong enough to carry Jade to a proper match. And Jade is still way too green. And she doesn't flow in a match like she probably should. And that's nothing again. She's imposing and great and a lot of stuff. It's just that there's a lot more to just being a big person who can climb into a wrestling ring.
But
And
Naomi has gotten better, but yeah, I do agree with you there that having her to carry Jade
yeah,
will be a tall a tall task
I mean,
to fill up. Let's just hope they're going more for spectacle than they
yeah.
more are for
Let's
match
hope
quality.
let's
Keep
hope
it
it's
all sort of a
short.
6-8 minute range as opposed to trying to stretch it out to 15-20.
100%. Let's hope it's short. Under 10 would be ideal.
Mm.
I mean, I think for me, the funny thing is perhaps they've, and it's built out of a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes as well. I think the match that might have the most interest for me on night one going in is Tiffy and Charlotte, just because of the whole blow up that they had apparently that they had backstage because Tiffy didn't approve what she was going to tell Charlotte in her that promo that she had, and apparently she pissed Charlotte off.
Yeah, see, that's funny because I've struggled the most with that match, and not because I. And the problem is that I love Tiffy.
Yes, I'm with
Um,
you.
and I, but we were talking about it with Becky. Charlotte's still in her prime. Like she's still, an epic star, but because she comes and goes, and I think I was saying this to Dave, I feel like Charlotte can't hold a feud unless there's a belt involved. And that drives me crazy. Like at least Becky can like she had the one with Trish, went about 6 or 7 months. Now again, it's a Hall of Famer, but it's still not there's no belt involved.
Yeah. Well,
And let's put a little context to sort of the whole Tiffy and Charlotte thing because they did that first interview with the split screen where Charlotte was obviously trying to undercut her
yeah.
and put her out of her element and basically trying to bury her. And on the second one where they were in person, it was obvious Tiffany came ready to fire shots back.
So it's obviously there's some tension, there's some real life tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
So I mean and that type of thing can sell you a match that has very little. I mean, you could argue that of all the stories going into night one, that may have the least amount of traction or leadway coming into it. Yet it may be the most interesting because of what's also been happening. Now,
And this past Friday, they did book sort of a viral video a la Kevin Owens and Cody, where Charlotte attacked Tiffany back, in the
Out
parking
by the
lot.
yeah,
car.
And
exactly.
then they sort of built on that during the show as well. They're definitely sort of positioning this to be a very physical match. I mean,
I'm gonna bet it's probably like this gonna be like the second or third last match of night one. I mean, obviously the triple threat's gonna be the closer. And I'm even gonna bet that I think Jay versus Gunther might be the opener because you want to have separation between the triple threat and the title match.
and you want to
But
start them off on a high. You want to start
exactly.
them off on a high because
So
Jay's obviously going over.
so Tiffy and Charlotte could literally be the match before the main event. You know what I mean? So it lead into the main event. But we're getting to just to get into what we just a little bit about Charlotte Flair because you talked a bit about her, Steve. And I think my issue with Charlotte isn't necessarily that she comes and goes. It's that much like Roman, she was forced and shoved down our throats by the old regime because she was forced into everything. But the problem is it took a seismic shift in Roman's character and the way he was portrayed and like with the whole bloodline thing just to get the audience to finally get behind him as their own. Whereas Charlotte has never changed, whether she's heel, whether she's face, she's always the exact same. There is no range, there is no change in character or tone. It's all the same crap, whether she's a face or a heel or whatever. There's no denying she might be one of the most talented females ever in ring, but character wise, she's never changed anything up. I mean, look at people like Jericho. The reason why Chris Jericho is still around, maybe admittedly to the point where he shouldn't still be around, to be honest with you, if you look at his recent stuff. But the reason why he's still around is he has this innate ability to reinvent himself every couple of years and make himself relevant again through a new iteration of his character. Whereas Charlotte's been the same damn character for over a decade.
I
Yeah,
mean, Kirk, to go off your point, it makes you wonder what would have happened had Nia not broken Becky's face, because the seismic shift that you talk about, it happened to Becky. It didn't happen to Charlotte.
100%. I 100% agree because Becky took what happened, and I mean, was it fortunate? Yes, but at the same time, you can't deny she took that and ran with it.
She made lemonade, absolutely.
100%. And Charlotte's never had that. I guess you could call it a come to God moment where she's like, you know what I mean? Eureka, this is what I should be doing. She's
yeah.
always dependent on writers and everybody else to tell her what her character should do. She doesn't really drive forward for her own input. And that's probably the difference between her and Becky in a nutshell, because Becky wants to drive the car and Charlotte wants to be a passenger.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mentioned I should say this too. She didn't just disappear this time. Like there have been times where she has, but she was injured for like 7 months. Like to be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah, legit injury. Yeah,
yeah. But I agree with you. That is really interesting because I don't even has Charlotte like Charlotte's the type of character she should have a faction. Like
Yeah.
why shouldn't she have worshipers to the queen? Like give us something other
But my
than
point is, yeah, you can go back to those NXT days of Charlotte, and her character in NXT is pretty much the exact same as it is today. If you went back to Bayley in NXT, if you went back to Becky Lynch in NXT, the difference is astounding.
mm.
Whereas Charlotte's still the same thing.
and I think people get bored more quickly.
Yep.
And I say this with love too. Like I would love to see Becky Lynch back in a WWE ring, but I would be afraid if she did. Not because I think people would want her to come back and everybody be like, ah, yeah, Becky's back.
Yep.
But I think you made a great point earlier. I think it was you, Kirk. There's people have moved on. Like they move on a little more quickly. Tiffany said at 25 she's a WWE champion and she's going to be doing it long. And I sort of thought I was like, but by the time anybody, male or female, like if you've been in 10, 12 years, if you're not bringing something fresh,
Yeah.
people
And
turn off.
and you got a lot of people, a lot of the females now are kind of going with the Japanese system of wrestling, which if you're not overly familiar with it, what happens a lot with Japanese wrestlers and like Stardom and Tokyo Joshi Pro and stuff like this is they start young, they start in their teens, they have a career that lasts 10, 12, 15 years, and then by the time they're in their late 20s, early 30s, they retire and go have children.
Hmm.
And because they want to have it all in while they're young, so they don't injure themselves to the point where they're going to be suffering in their older age. Now there are exceptions, obviously, and three of them are in WWE with Io and Asuka and Kyrie are all people that moved to WWE because they in the Japanese system, it's not like they weren't welcome, it's just that they were outliers because they were all in their 30s and they're still wrestling. A lot of the ladies in Japan, by the time they hit their early 30s, have retired.
Hmm.
So I'm seeing that a lot now coming up in North America and stuff because there's a lot of it maybe not be as early as their early 30s, but a lot of female wrestlers by the time they hit their mid 30s are either taking time off or they're retiring to have children.
The turnover is a lot quicker, just especially given more opportunities in Hollywood and TV and whatever. Even if it's
100%.
even if it's just have kids, like there's other avenues that people can spin wrestling into.
And like
And
we were saying before, there's just
yeah,
so many more females in wrestling right now than there ever has been in any point in time in history. Like we said earlier, the NXT roster, I'm like there's more females on the NXT roster than there's males at the moment, and that's just when you think about it, that's kind of crazy.
I think it's great. I think
Oh,
the rumors of an evolution. Is it Women's Evolution 2 this summer? And I remember when the first one
I don't think
was.
it's a rumor anymore. I think it's a lock.
Is it confirmed? Is it
Yeah, it's
confirmed?
not
Hasn't been
confirmed
announced.
confirmed. It's not confirmed, but apparently there was some sort of leak that happened from a venue that one of the venues that they were looking at having it at that kind of mentioned the name and said that they were looking at possibly holding the event. So it's not confirmed yet, but the name's out there.
But I think that's so spectacular too, because I think WWE in the last, like, they were really cooking with their feet with their women superstar wrestler storylines.
Oh yeah.
And I think they sort of lost their way for a little bit, but bringing back women's evolution, I think, is going to bring that back to a much better level.
Yeah. And the
And
thing is, they've got enough people on roster in house now that they don't even have to go. Like the first evolution, they had to bring back veterans. They had to go outside of WWE to fill the card. They don't need to do that anymore.
no,
They got more than enough in house to do it.
I mean, they
And
may
it's
do
great.
the team a little bit, but yeah, you're right. They've got more than enough talent in house to
I guarantee they'll bring it.
with
They'll bring back a legend or two for sure, just for ticket sales. I mean, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but they've got everybody in house now. They don't need to, you know what I mean? So, and
well,
there's so many people. There's so
Rhea
many
be
people.
oh, go on.
There's
Yeah,
so many people in NXT that don't need to be there.
and names like Rhea and Io and Bianca and Charlotte are now, well, Charlotte was before, but I mean they're big enough now.
Rhea is a household name to non wrestling
Yeah.
fans.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I mean,
Rhea is their number one star. Absolutely.
she is the closest I think they've ever gotten to a female Hulk Hogan. That's how well known she's becoming. She's not quite there yet, but she's on her way because I know a lot of people that don't watch wrestling but know who Rhea Ripley is. And it's just quite funny. So I mean, because she shows up on other people's YouTube channels and stuff like that all the time now.
Yeah.
Just just her being talked about and stuff like that. So it's crazy. But yeah, no, you 100%. The women's wrestling deserves its own spotlight because it would be fun to watch the dichotomy of watching the original Evolution pay-per-view and then watching one done this year and just see the vast amount of difference.
Mm.
Which had a great last woman standing match on the card, by the way. So, but I mean, I'm still, you're right. There would be a huge jump in quality from that first show to the second one, 100%.
It would just be so curious to see. I mean, like right now NXT is being led by Julia, who is an international star who should be on the main roster. Jordan Grace, who's already been in 2 Rumbles and probably should have been on the main roster, and Stephanie Vicker, who has the possibility to be the biggest star that they have because she just oozes charisma. And those are all in NXT. They're not even on the
And
main
the reason
roster.
Stephanie and Julie are on NXT is because they need them to get their English better.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right.
Yeah.
Julia's is better than Stephanie's, but Stephanie, yeah, she needs to get better.
Well,
They still have both. They both have room to grow, though. Yes.
yeah.
And a part of me fears that if they move Julia up too fast, they're just going to make her some sort of Kabuki Warrior 2.0 and
Well,
stick
yeah,
her with.
it's not the time yet.
Yeah, no, Julia's too big a star to be dealing with stuff like that. But you've seen, I mean, Julia should be Asuka level, not necessarily EO.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
mean,
but
I love EO, and she's a champ right now. But you've seen the trajectory that they've had with
yes,
her.
yeah.
A lot of starts and stops, whereas Asuka's kind of always been up here and they've kind of protected her.
Well, we
Anyways,
well, this is great. This is good. But we
talk about. I mean, Jay. We talked about Jay. Let's talk about Jay versus Gunther because I mean, does anybody not think that they're putting the belt on Jay?
No, they definitely are. But I gotta go back to Tiffany and Charlotte for just a minute because
Okay.
I really think if they do it right, there's a very interesting opportunity here for them to do something very unique. If they're putting Charlotte over, I think they've got to have her beat the absolute crap out of Tiffany, like pillar to post, like borderline stretcher job. Have Kaiser run out and take a chair if he has to build up more sympathy for Tiffy as a baby face. Conversely, if they put over Tiffy, I still think it's the same formula, but you have Tiffy keep kicking out, keep kicking out, keep kicking out, and then the fans love her even more, and they kind of elevate her through sort of this like brutally tough performance to be sort of this next level female star. If everyone's on the same page, they have a very good opportunity to turn Tiffy into the next mega female star.
I'm not really a fan of Charlotte winning that match. I mean, I understand your point and I see a lot of value in it. But personally, I'm not a fan of her winning that match.
Neither am I. But I'm saying no matter what happens, I think they've got to put Tiffany through the ringer to make to really sort of elevate her from sort of the pitchy voice Tiffy time to goddamn Tiffy's a badass.
And you can, if Evolution 2 is happening, if you bury Tiffany now, and I mean, like you said, Dave, just pillar to post, you've got opportunity now for that to be a main event level match.
Have it be sort of the crowning revenge moment for Tiffy to
Yeah,
come back and get her piece of flesh. Yeah.
a
You can put
hundred
it,
percent.
you could even put it in a cell or a cage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'm
Um,
not again, I'm not upset by what you're saying. I would prefer if Tiffany didn't take the big L, but that's mainly because I just don't want it would be nothing new for Charlotte,
you know what? I'm gonna
as
I'm
we've
gonna
already
take
discussed.
I'm gonna take this and spin this to the rest of night one because I will say I think they've done something with Tiffany and Charlotte that they did with Jay and Gunther, and maybe in the main event, and that saves stars because I would say until about 2 weeks ago, Jay was, I mean, like this match was a wash. Like I didn't even understand what was going on. I felt actually bad for Jay. First of all, because they got to stop promising you the main event if you win the Royal Rumble. Stop. Stop promising that
They're
unless
still
you're going
getting
to do
used to
it.
that. That's
Pardon?
fine. That's another story entirely.
I know, but I'm just saying, like
Yeah,
they promised him
yeah,
main
yeah.
event. He's main event Jey Uso, and you bumped him from the main event. Like if he opens the show, it's a
Oh, but it's a
starter.
co-main event. It's a yeah, they can talk their way around it 14 different ways. I'm not
Okay,
overly worried about that.
right. But here, think about this though too. In the weeks leading up to this, Gunther has been fighting like Tozawa. He's been fighting. He's been taking on Otis. And Jay's struggling. He's
You also
losing.
had Axiom. That's
I'm just like this match the way it could have gone was losing the air out of the balloon.
Yeah.
And I think what they did with Jimmy has saved the match for me in the
yes,
same
it had
way.
because it allowed Jay to have that promo last week.
Okay, so
You're like, I'm not afraid of you anymore.
But that's
I've
what I'm saying. They did that what happened with Tiffy and Charlotte saved that match. Whether or not it was scripted, it saved the match.
yeah.
And the favor, this whole thing about what is the favor, saved that match as well for the triple
Oh,
threat.
100%.
Not
I
for
just
me.
like these things were like they were losing steam at the
Yeah.
wrong time.
They've had to do some more match manipulation and massaging to make things work than they've had to in previous years. That I 100% would agree with you on that. I for me personally, I still don't have a lot of interest in the main event. But that's just me. It's just because I'm tired of the Seth Rollins character. I mean, here's my thing. Who gains anything by winning that triple threat?
There's only one person. It's Seth, and
Yeah.
if Paul helps him.
If Paul betrays the other two and
Yes.
goes with Seth, that's the only way that anybody benefits from this match in any way, shape, or form.
Which is why it's probably going to happen, which is why it's predictable and a little boring.
And
You're
and
not
and
wrong.
I also hate anything that benefits Seth. But that's just me. But again, it's just that I was like there what is there to this match? Oh, and I mean, it's not like you're going to rely on a 46-year-old punk to even who's frequently injured. Like you can't rely on him for much, unfortunately. Other he sells tickets 100%, But are you going to think it's obvious that Roman and Seth are going to carry the majority of the match? You're probably Punk's. I suspect Punk will be relegated to the he's down outside of the ring, recovering for large swaths of this match.
Well, and you hate Punk too. That's another story entirely. But it's definitely going to be an issue where if they're putting Seth over with Paul, and Seth sort of has a tweak to his character to become more sort of straight ahead heel. Like, do they bury Punk for a little while, or do they have Romans kind of do the send off at Backlash and then Roman goes away? Because obviously, of these three people, one of them is full time, and it's Seth.
Yeah, because we know Roman's going away because he's got 2 films to shoot between now and next spring. So
Right.
we already know he's going away, and we know you can't rely on Punk just because of the fact that he is, like you said, he's a 46-year-old who has had 3 major injuries in the last 4 years that have all cost
But I
him
would say that
time
he's been
from the
feeling a lot
ring.
better ever since he got sort of a better medical system. So,
But I'm not even taught. Well, 2 of those injuries were in WWE.
well, one of them was.
2. He lost a month, but they didn't report it because he sprained his bloody wrist or whatever it was the end of last year.
Bring your
Doesn't
wrist. That can happen
count.
to anybody.
But my point is just that he's still injury prone to the point where he needs to take time off of the
When
ring.
you're 46, absolutely.
What
Yeah,
I'm hearing is that he's a young man. I'm hearing he's a young pup just starting out. That's what
please.
I'm hearing.
He's only a few years younger than me, and I have problems getting out of bed. So I mean, some days, not every morning, but some mornings. But anyways, my point is, yeah, like that's the thing. As Dave said, unless they do a specific thing, that entire main event is lost and it's a wash. At least that's my.
I still have more faith in it. I think they can do more, but I think that
It'll be
level of
fun
intrigue has
from an
made it
action
interesting.
standpoint, but there's only one story to tell.
And if you want to talk about somebody falling off, just to move on from, because I think the fact that there's a match between LA Knight and Jacob Fatu on this card, and I don't know about you, but I completely even forgot that it was on the card. I mean, talk about how far LA Knight has plummeted, from where he was 6 to 8 months ago to where he is now.
Oh,
But
I don't
again,
think he's plummeted at
pro
all.
wrestling though, guys have to rise and then fall and then rise.
Yeah.
Again.
He hasn't fallen at all. He can care. You hear those crowd reactions when he comes to the ring, and he is still beloved. Now, in
He
terms of
is,
story,
yeah.
this is going to be about putting Fatu over big time. Like that is what it's going to be.
Yeah, no, and to be honest, that's the way it should be. Fatu should have the gold, and he should be the one to be putting over strong. It's just that, yeah, and you're talking about crowd reactions. There's throughout history, there's been guys that are on the card because they react well with the crowd, and then there's the guys that do the work. And I'm not saying LA Knight doesn't do the work. I'm just saying it's just the way that it does. This is the way it is. I mean, there's a reason why at whatever age he is, R-Truth still gets put on cards all the time. R-Truth's not, other than the tag belts, he's not going to win much, but the crowd pops every single time he walks out.
Yeah, but Knight can still be a main eventer. Like I think he isn't right now.
And that's where I think the disconnect is for me, because I think his time as a main eventer might be coming to a close.
See, I wouldn't say it's coming to a close, but I would put him as more of that guy that they put into the main event when there's a lull. He's not sort of the full-time upper tier main event guy. He's the guy who kind of bounces back and forth.
He's kind of the upper mid-tier guy.
Yeah, he's the upper mid-tier guy.
I kind of see him transgressing into a kind of a lower mid-tier guy, but that doesn't mean he can't be an upper tier, pushed up to an upper tier mid guy for a month or two. It's just I
don't think they could hand him the belt. I just don't think there's any room right now. Like
I don't think you can hand LA Knight anything above the US or the Intercontinental belt at that time. But again, this is just my opinion. I mean, it would take a concerted 6-month effort to build him up, and build him up, probably even with a Rumble win to get him to that level, in my opinion. But I mean, it's just, and this is not even necessarily me saying anything bad about him. It's just the way of the business. There's just so many guys in
Only so many top
this
spots.
company.
Yeah.
There's only so many spots. And it's not even this company. It's you could argue that every company right now has the same position and the
Oh,
same
100%. Yeah.
It's just because there's so many people more now in professional wrestling as a whole than there ever has been at any point in time in history.
Fair point. I want to transition to night two.
Yep.
But before we do that, is there a match, or of the matches, which one are you looking forward to the most, and who do you think is going to win?
On night one,
Night one.
you know what? I'm going to say Tiffy Charlotte because if they do it right, it could be something special. I don't think they will. It could end up just being a disaster. But if they do it right, it could be something big.
The one that I want to see the most, obviously, is Tiffy Charlotte. The outcome I think that needs to happen the most is Jacob Fatu winning the belt.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, I don't think that's a shocker. Jacob goes over for the U.S. belt, and somehow Jimmy will get involved with Gunther and Jay.
Yeah,
From the World Heavyweight match, so Jimmy gets a spot on the show. So that's a no-brainer.
Even if Jay wins that belt, there's no way he's holding it to Summer. So it'll be gone before then.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll be a transitional champ, which is, I mean, it's
well, he switched to a babyface. The baby faces are always better chasing.
And there's worse things in the world than being a transitional champion for crying out loud.
Yeah, not being a champion.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Steve?
I would say the Tiffy Charlotte one has really picked up steam for me, which is funny because it was the one I wanted to see the least, even as early as 2 weeks ago. But I'm going to stick with the main event because I think that they have done a proper job. I really would. I mean, there have been talk of this being a triple threat match for 3 months, right? We heard like it leaks around the Rumble time that's what they're doing. And I was wondering how the heck they were going to get us here in a way that was reasonable. I like that. I like the build. It has its been, and I like that Seth, regardless of what happens with Paul Heyman, just speaking to the build, I liked how Seth has remained relevant, and he didn't have to. This was almost a very two-person, three-person match, like. Whether it was all about Heyman or whether it's all about Punk. I mean, Punk is main eventing and Roman's main eventing. Even in the contract signing, it's Roman and Punk that are having the banter. But the way they've used Seth as like this sort of skulking guy is like, hey, don't forget about me. I've really enjoyed that. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that right now. And I do. I don't know if Seth is gonna. I'm not convinced on Seth. I feel like they might give it to Punk, because who knows how many times he's going to be there. And I'm not saying that as any criticism of him. This
No,
might be the only one he does.
It's an entirely valid comment, considering his age, considering his injuries. This may be his big shot in a main event. I mean,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not wishing any ill will towards Punk, despite
No.
the fact that Dave thinks I hate him. But at the same time, you just have to look at the facts. He's nowhere near the Punk that we love from 2012. He's injury prone, and you can't rest your whole. There's a reason why this isn't a title match. Let's put it that way, because you couldn't put a belt on Punk right now. At least in my opinion, simply because he could get injured at any point.
At most, it's like a month.
Yeah. So
see, and I'll tell you this: I like him better now than in 2012.
So do I, but
hated him in
again, it's a
2012.
different sort of evolution of the character. But I mean, Kirk's not wrong.
Yeah,
there's a reason why Randy Orton is a super muscular now, and probably not going to sniff another title belt. There's a reason AJ isn't an out as great a shape as he's in. They get injured because
it sucks, but it's life. People get older, they get injured. There's a reason why for the last 5 years that the Undertaker fought, he only wrestled 5 times a year max. It's because it would take him 2 to 3 weeks to recover from that one match.
There's a reason why John Cena hasn't worked the match until Wrestle in between, Elimination Chamber and now,
Yeah.
because they don't want to screw up the main event.
And
Yeah.
there's our transition moment right there.
So
There's our segue.
I'll
Let's
run.
talk,
Let me
let's talk
let me
night two. Kurt, what do
let
we
me
got?
run through the card. Triple threat for the women's championship: Rhea, Io, Bianca Belair. Fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship with Penta, Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. AJ versus Logan Paul. It's now a street fight, a Sin City street fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre.
No, I heard that was out.
No,
No, it's in. No, it's in.
it's a Sin City street fight now. It's been
Even with
changed
his
to a
eye?
street
Did,
fight.
did you watch? Did you watch TV? Did you watch Friday?
I haven't seen SmackDown.
It's in.
Okay.
There's the tag team championship match: Bailey and Lyra Valkyria versus Liv and Raquel. And on this card, you have obviously Cody versus John Cena, and apparently there will be a Randy Orton versus a mystery opponent added to the second night as well.
And based on how they set it up on TV on Friday, it's probably going to be Solo.
That's kind of what most people think they're leaning towards.
Okay.
But yeah, because of the KO match, which was originally supposed to be on that night, it's going to be Randy versus probably Solo. We don't know for sure yet. It'll probably get confirmed on Friday.
Okay. Well, let's talk Cena and Cody, because
you want to start at the top first. Okay.
Let's start there. It's the big story. It's the big story of well, I mean, arguably the biggest story, but maybe not. Cena going heel. And how have you two felt about the build, and what do you think about the match?
I'll let Dave go first because I got opinions.
You do?
The build has been, it's not been perfect, for obvious reasons that, include The Rock and Travis Scott and other things around that. But Cena definitely saved it with his mic work. But at the same time, when I look at it, I feel like Cena's going over is almost a given, but I think it's going to happen in kind of like a hinky way. And we almost have the immediate start of the Cena turn back to being a babyface.
Yeah.
I got a feeling Cena goes over, but it happens in a very kind of hinky way. I've also been really curious in seeing some of the publicity material for upcoming events. And whether this is just an oversight or by design, none of them have the actual belt on it. Like, no one's carrying the belt.
Yeah. See, the thing with and I've discussed this with Dave before, but I don't know if I've talked to with you about it before. But the biggest thing for me was that I loved the fact that they turned Cena heel. I thought it was well overdue. You have other merch. The reason why they never did it for so long is because they wanted to protect merch sales and all the other stuff. Cena's not. They still do, but Cena's not the top guy anymore.
Yeah, they still want to sell the merch though.
100%. But Jay has been the top guy for merch sales for a long time now.
And even Rhea and Cody are surpassing that.
You got into an opportune time period where you could take Cena and turn him heel and possibly lose some of those merch sales, have him dip a bit, and it wouldn't affect your overall bottom line. So why not pull the trigger? My issue was how they did turn him heel and having him being subservient to The Rock. You know what I mean? The way that they did it is he's under The Rock and he's kind of taking direction from The Rock. I'm like, I would much prefer Cena to be, if he's going to be healed, to be full on blown himself. But they set himself up. The way they set it up at the Rumble is that he was going to be, or after the Rumble, at the Rumble, is that he was under The Rock and he was taking direction from The Rock. And I kind of was like, I don't know about that. I know why they did it. They're obviously setting up something. I agree with Dave. I think Cena's going over, but by the time SummerSlam rolls around, he won't have the belt anymore, and it's probably because The Rock's going to turn on him and cost him the belt. Because I really think that the last match that Cena's going to have is going to be against The Rock. And I know some people disagree.
I think Rock walks out with the belt on Sunday.
You think he's walking out on Sunday?
I don't think he's
You
working.
think
I
Rock
think he just
walks
comes
out with
to
the
John
belt?
and says, "Thank
You
you."
said Rock.
Or what if Cena? Yeah. Oh, or if Cena wins and then just demands that The Rock and The Rock walks out and demands that Cena gives him the belt back because he's under The Rock. Kind of
No, that's what I'm thinking. I think the belt disappears for a while.
the old $1 Million Man saga.
Yeah, because I mean, here's the other thing that we have to think about. This is going to be the first SummerSlam this year that's going to be 2 nights.
Yep.
This year, as much as people will complain about, Rock working and then not working and blah blah blah, if there's a show that needs Rock to work more than this show, it's that one.
Yeah. And Rock has carved out some time away from his schedule from filming, starting at the very end of the summer towards the end of the year.
Because he'll be doing press for
I
Fight
believe,
Machine, and yeah.
because I believe from what I understand, from what I've read and what I understand, he finishes filming his stuff on the new Fast and Furious movie sometime in mid to late July,
Yeah.
just in time for him to get around for the whole SummerSlam lead up. And he doesn't have anything else because he's already got the Moana live action's already in the can.
Yeah.
He's got Fast and the Furious, which he doesn't have a massive role in, but he'll be done by midsummer, or by, like I said, by mid-July, beginning of August. So, and he doesn't really have anything that he's going to be acting in through the rest of the year. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's all leading up towards, unless of course something comes up and he takes it. Because I mean, I know they are going to make a new Jumanji movie, but that's not supposed to start shooting until like the very end of this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's a no-brainer that Cena loses this match. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. And I'll tell you why. If he wins it here, you're only giving it to him because he's here on the grandest stage. Because it's there. But it's not interesting. He wins, and then what? He's leaving at the end of the year. I think it's more interesting for him to lose. And you talk about him being subservient to The Rock. He hasn't even mentioned The Rock in the last month and a half.
I understand, but that's by design.
By design, though, too.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But I'm just saying they've set himself up. He hasn't been sitting there saying, "Tell me what to say." Like, he's been his own guy, more or less. But I think if he wins it as a heel, I think they're going to want to see him win it as a babyface. And I think that's what they're going to want. I think that's going to sell more T-shirts.
No, because honestly, they want to have him get to 17. So
they do.
Under their control.
It's a guarantee he's winning this year. Before he retires, he's winning.
I'm on board with that. I don't think he has to do it next weekend. I don't think he does.
What I think works even better is if you put the belt on him as a heel, and then while he holds the belt, he turns babyface during his run, so that by the time his run is over and he drops the belt, he's a face again. And you do that by having The Rock and whoever else try to attack him and turn on him during a match, and it backfires. And then
you could turn him during the match.
Yes, I'm not even saying during this match. This match could be just a straight up heel, but then whatever the next big pay-per-view or even SummerSlam, then you turn him during the course of the match. You do the Austin face turn in the middle of the match.
Okay.
And then he while he's got the belt, he got it as a heel, but by the time he gives it away, he's a face again.
See, I could see that, but here's the other thing too. I think Cody retains, and the main event of SummerSlam is Cody Rock. And
I think they want to hold off on Cody Rock till Mania next year.
See, I'm thinking they're going to do Rock and Roman then.
See, that's just it. Yeah, like there's only really 2 matches left because
it realistically also relies on how many years Rock thinks he has left.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, let's be honest.
The ball's in Rock's court no matter what.
let's be honest, Cena versus Rock would be butt ugly because they're both too old.
I could see I could see Cena versus Punk main eventing one night of SummerSlam. I could see that.
Cena Rock would be. It may not be the best in the ring, but it would be hot. Like the crowd would be
Oh, it'd be a
insanely
hot
hot.
ticket, but
Yeah, especially. You know what would be really fun if they did that is if they put the guest referee vest on Austin,
right.
and
Well,
you had Cena and Rock with special guest referee shot Stone Cold. You trying to tell me you can't sell one night of SummerSlam on that one match alone?
See, but it's a forced story, and you're pushing Cody out of the way.
Well, there's the
But
thing
Cody
though.
still has to
Cody
be in the mix for this.
here's the thing. Cody has been the guy, the focus for over 2 years now.
Oh yeah.
he still
But
is.
and you what you don't want to do is you don't want to get Cody to the point where Roman did, where even though you had Roman had been on top for so long that people were starting to say, well, we want something different now. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Yeah, I don't
but
disagree that
this
Cody's
that
making been
doesn't
cooled
mean
off a
that
bit.
he has to
That's a
lose
valid
here.
point.
It's
I'm
only
not
been a
saying that
year.
that's
It's
going to be the case. I'm just saying you got to be wary of that. I mean,
sure.
you got to remember how long Roman had to go away after the whole bloodline thing just for the audience to embrace him again because they were just at the point where they were just, whether they loved or hated him, they were just like, just give us something different. And Cody's been on top for a long time now. So, I mean, if you have him, lose and then go away for a couple months and come back, I mean, that might do more for his character than anything else.
Not unless he comes back as something different. I think
No, you're right there. He would have to come back basically the same. He would Cody, unlike Charlotte, where we were talking about earlier. Right now, there's still legs in what Cody's doing as that character. I mean, don't get me wrong. Within the next 12 months, Cody's going heel.
Oh, agreed. But I mean, also back to your point about sort of the Austin face turn. I think
yeah.
it applies way better with Tiffy Charlotte than it does here.
Yeah, but yeah, I say Cody's going heel. Cody, for everything that he's done right as the top babyface, and he's done a lot right. Cody's a way better heel.
Well, that brings up another idea. What if Cody turns heel on Sunday
He could too.
You could have
and
a
back
double turn.
and sides with Rocky?
You
Could
could
have
do
a
a double
double.
turn. You could have it. Oh,
But
oh,
you would blow up
you
Cody
could
versus
you
Rock.
you could have Cody accept Rock's conditions in the middle of the match and flip everything. Because you remember, The Rock was trying to recruit Cody first.
And remember, Rock doesn't have to stay. The final boss doesn't have to stay heel.
Yeah,
Cody could be the heel run out of control, and then at SummerSlam, The Rock, the final boss, has to come to save the WWE and fight Cody Rhodes for the title.
yeah. But Cody's gonna go heel soon. He
No,
has to. Yeah,
Rock's
Cody
not
has to
going
go heel.
face.
He's a better heel than he is a face.
Here's the thing is they have set him up too beautifully. And I think Rock going face would right now because eventually he probably and he's still a weird little blend. But
Rock's going out face. It would
sure,
by the time it's said and done, he's going out face. He's not going out heel, no matter what they want to do.
but this is a case where you've set up a new villain again. And yes, it's Corporation 2.0 in some ways, but that's okay
Yeah.
because we're back to and this has always worked in pro wrestling, the working man versus the corporate guy. It's just always worked,
Yeah.
more or less. And so
Ever
Rock,
since Austin McMahon, they've tried to reinvent a different way of doing it.
yeah,
Because by far that was the most successful invention of that role in history.
the only way that this works is if there's a double turn and Cena goes face. And I think it's too early.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's too early. Like
I mean, and as I said when I was saying before, I'm not saying it happens now, but by this time next year, if Cody isn't a heel, then I think they've made a mistake. I mean, I'm not. He could go the entire rest of this year being a face, and then you turn him at like Rumble or something. But if you're going into another Mania next year with Cody still being the big baby face, I think they've made a mistake. Because I think by that point in time, again, you're going to get into Roman territory. Will it be on top with no change in character for 3 full years?
Right.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
And here's the other thing to build up with. You've got Jimmy and Jay really well positioned as sort of those transitional upper level baby faces to fight off the heel Cody until you're ready for babyface Braun Breaker, until you're ready for whoever's coming down there for Trick Williams,
Yeah.
or any of these guys coming up out of the chute to sort of be ready to
And,
face sort of this evil dastardly Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare.
yeah. And to use that as a transition,
Which is why I brought it up.
the 4-way match. Obviously this is a way to get multiple guys on the card. And I'm assuming some way, shape, or form, Ray Phoenix is getting involved in this. Because it's his brother.
Yeah, I'm not gonna maybe but
so.
Into that. But yeah,
I'm not saying by interference, but he's going to be ringside or something's going to happen because Penta is going for his first major championship. Who do we think is walking away with the belt though?
Braun.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and I think it's going to be Dominic taking the pin because I think the only reason why Dom is in this match is for heat and to take a pin.
I think the reason, like, I think it's going to be Braun, and I think this is that Dom and Finn cancel each other out because they're going to conclude that aspect of the Judgment Day storyline. I think that's what the real story of this match is.
They're not going to conclude it.
No?
This is the night Dominic goes babyface.
Oh, I hope not.
They're cheering him already. They love hating him. He's got. They love hating him.
I think Dom's eating the pin.
Yes, I agree.
But I think after the match, if you want to do something after the match between Finn and Dom, yes, that works.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, Finn punks him out, and then Dom starts his turn.
The reality is, you look at these four. I think we all agree that Braun is going to win. Penta can't afford to take a pin right now. He's still too fresh. You don't want to see him. You don't want him looking weak. You prefer not to have Finn. You prefer not to have Finn take the pin. You could have Finn take the pin, but I'd prefer. I think of all the guys in that match, the one that doesn't get hurt by eating a pin is Dom.
Oh, wait. Yeah. What if Finn pins Dom?
Yeah, that could work too. Finn wins, but I'm not completely
opposed. Braun go?
For me though, I think you either put it on Braun or you fully embrace the fact that you're going to push the new guy and you put it on Penta.
Finn and Dom doesn't need a belt.
What?
Finn and Dom doesn't need a belt.
That's what I'm saying. Neither of them need a belt. Neither of them need that belt. Finn should be well beyond this belt anyways. He's not, but he should be well beyond it. And Dom doesn't need. We've clearly seen Dom is that character that he doesn't need. He actually works better without the constricts of having a belt that he has to defend. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he gets to be slimier without it.
You know what though? Just to play devil's advocate, Dom's never won a main roster singles belt.
No.
This could be his moment as a thank you for the last couple of years.
I guess, but I always see Dom as kind of the better as being the sidekick to the guy who has the belt, as opposed to being the guy who has the belt.
Well, see, that's how I felt about Eddie Guerrero. I never thought Eddie Guerrero had the stuff. And I don't want to speak ill of Eddie Guerrero. I know he's beloved, but I didn't see him as that guy. But maybe, he needed a moment. When he got it, he ran with it.
Yeah, Eddie. To be fair, Eddie needed the whole thing with China, though.
Yeah,
right.
You take away the whole Eddie and China thing, and I don't think the belt happens.
You mean like Dom and Rhea and Dom and Liv?
But Liv Morgan on her best day, and I don't hate Liv by any stretch of the imaginations, but Liv on her best day is no China.
Right.
It's Raquel might be close to a China considering how dominant she is, but speaking of women, what do you think about I don't know if you heard the comments by, of all people, Kevin Nash. But Kevin Nash was complaining about the triple threat between Rhea, Io, and Bianca, saying that Io doesn't deserve to be in there. And I could not. Yeah,
He has that old school big, larger than life mentality. Like Io's a fantastic worker, but she is obviously the smaller of the three.
100%. And Kevin, being a big guy, he just said Io, he doesn't think Io's a good wrestler and she should not be in this match. And he said this on his podcast. And I could not disagree with him any harder.
I think that's idiotic.
I think it was, I'm still not 100% sure that they needed to put the belt on her before to include her in this match.
I think you did. Sorry.
I don't know. It kind of felt forced, if you understand what I'm saying a bit.
It did, but here's the thing. Bianca and you know what? In some ways, it's not that different than the men's triple threat on night one. I would argue that Rhea and Bianca against each other, there's your main event for Evolution right there, because the two of them are the biggest names in the company. And by putting the title on Io and having her keep it, not that, and I love Io. Io's my girl. I love her.
Yeah.
But it elevates her name to that level, I would say, in that match. I think it makes her relevant.
Well, like she's been such a good soldier to the company. You don't want to leave her out if you can.
But here's my only issue that I have with this match, because I think it's going to be stellar in the ring. Don't get me wrong, and I am very happy. This is one of the matches I'm looking forward to, because I think in ring it's going to be phenomenal. But who's going to be the heel?
Bianca.
Okay. But
I think I'll even throw this to you, Kirk. I think they established that on night one.
Is that?
I think they established it on night one.
How do they establish it on night one?
From the match between Naomi and
so you're going to have her come out and fully commit to being on Naomi's side during that match. Okay.
That's what I think.
I mean, I guess that's possible. Yes. I mean, because going into this right now, I'm just like, nobody's really a heel. I mean, Bianca's kind of a tweener, but she's not really a heel. Nobody's going to boo Io. And Rhea's like the biggest baby face.
You can't turn Rhea.
Maybe the biggest baby face in the company, even more than Cody at the moment. So it's like, you're going to have to do something with Bianca to turn her heel, because you need a heel dynamic in that match. I mean, you can get away with babyface versus babyface, but not babyface, all three of them. You have to have some sort of heel dynamic in a three-way. But I like your idea about her coming in and showing her true stripes and teaming against Jade. I do like that idea.
And I do think that Bianca and Rhea is your main event for Evolution too. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yep. Or unless it's Bianca versus Jade, because I trust Bianca to carry Jade to a better match a lot more than I trust Naomi.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That could be.
But again, and then you're also leaving the sort of the Tiffy Charlotte situation sort of in the dust as well.
You know what you could do though?
I would put Tiffy Charlotte over like Jade's not ready for a main event slot yet. She can't carry a 20-minute match.
You could do Jade versus Bianca, and I do like that, because like I said, Jade could carry her to a better match. I believe the best match Jade has had. I believe the best match Jade has had so far WWE was against Bianca.
Yeah.
But what you could possibly even do, if you wanted to, I believe they do this. You could do a champion versus champion. Didn't they do that at the original Evolution? Where it was
main event was Charlotte and Becky in a last woman standing.
That's right.
So you could do the belt.
You could do a champ versus champ situation if you had Tiffy with the one belt, and you had even if it was Io or Rhea that had the belt. You could do that kind of as a champion versus champion at Evolution. That might work.
Io versus Rhea would be fun.
That might be interesting to see. But we got a long ways to get before we get to that pay-per-view. But that might be interesting to see.
Is there anything in night two? other than let's start talking about night two here.
Oh yeah, the last match on the original Evolution was Ronda beating Nikki Bella.
Yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And they
Becky
did the whole.
Charlotte was the build up for the SmackDown title. So yeah,
Yes,
Right.
you're right. You are right. I remember the Ronda was in the main event.
What match are you looking forward to most on night two, and what do you think it's going to be?
Looking forward to the one we just talked about, Rhea versus Io versus Bianca. I think that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. The one outcome that I want to see the most, though, I think is Braun winning. Actually, you know what? Braun, I think, is the one that's the most deserved. The sky in the pie wish would happen would be Penta taking the belt. Because I think it would be fun to see Penta running around with
it
the belt.
would. It would.
I
It
think
would.
Penta can win it at Backlash or whatever the next one is.
Yeah. But again, but the one that definitely on the triple threat on night two is the one I'm looking forward to the most. With I would say Cody Cena would be a close second, but I think there's going to be a lot of shenanigans around the Cody and Cena thing, whereas I think the triple threat is going to be more of a straightforward, hard hitting match.
Okay. Dave, what do you think?
The one I don't know if it's the one I'm looking forward to the most, but I think it'll be the one that's most telling is Damien versus Drew. Because I think whoever goes over in that one will basically give us a bit of an indicator on who goes over with Cody versus Cena. Just in terms
In
of
what
who they
way?
feed champ next, sort of in the in-between pay-per-views.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
you think the winner of that match is probably who's going to take on whoever wins Cena versus
Cody.
Cody for the
They're
next
gonna
little
need
while.
they're gonna need somebody to fill in sort of those in between PLE months between now and SummerSlam.
Fair.
I mean,
Yeah, but
Randy's an option too, but it definitely feels like those like Damian, Drew, and Randy are probably the three guys, maybe even AJ, four guys that they could kind of cycle in as needed as a sort of top challenger.
yeah.
Not to say any of them goes over for the belt, but they seem to be like the four guys on that side of the card who feel like they're the most believable to sort of step up to either sort of heel John Cena, sort of running roughshod defending the belt, or Cody, depending on which way he goes.
Mhm.
Although if it's Cody again, there's going to be we're going to have like sort of repeats of what we had last year. So yeah, yeah, Cena's going over,
I could
which makes me
see a
think that maybe
scenario.
Damian go over. So like that would be the first match.
I could see a scenario where, let's say I think Drew's going to win that match. Hear me out. I'm gonna paint my conspiracy brush here. Drew has
Okay.
hinted he's got fun stuff coming out with The Rock. What if Drew interferes? Cody wins the belt. And even though I still don't think Cody's going to win, but Cody wins the belt, then you automatically set up Drew versus Cody.
You mean Cena?
No. Oh, Cena wins. I said
Yeah.
Cena wins even though I don't think he will. But if Drew interferes because he's aligned with The Rock, you've automatically set up a reasonable feud for Cody. And then you can still build up to Cody Rock at SummerSlam. And Cena can have the belt because Cody will have a revenge tour of his own
Yeah.
with Rock and his new
Entourage.
corporation.
Yeah.
Could work.
And I mean, to go back to Kirk's point just about Cody being sort of overexposed, if Cody loses, it gives them an excuse to send him home for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a month. If he's not on TV, it gives him an excuse to push other people and sort of advance another story, and we don't necessarily see him and see the music every single week.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, and the thing is, obviously, as well, after Mania, you're going to have your traditional call up from NXT. You're going to bring in some
In
new
the
talent.
draft, they're gonna shuffle the decks. So
So yeah, so you have other things that'll be going on that can detract from you not having to have Cody around every single week.
Hmm.
And and we were to talk a little bit about Netflix. I'll say the one thing that has been refreshing and that has been different about WWE and Netflix is that you don't have studio or a studio rep or a network executive saying specific people need to be on your show and your show needs to be done by a specific time. And you know what I mean? There's these expectations and these things have gone away because Netflix doesn't care when they finish. Netflix doesn't care who is on that show. They're not demanding specific wrestlers. They're just letting them be. And I think that has been probably the biggest influence of the Netflix age is that they've just been let to be able to breathe. I mean,
That and overall production design, absolutely. Yeah,
has there been a single episode of Raw that has gone 3 hours since they switched to Netflix?
no, they've all been about 2.5.
Exactly. I mean, that was the biggest problem you had with Raw before, is that because it was forced to be a 3 hour show, it always felt bloated. I mean, granted, you're not really getting the commercial breaks that you would in a regular
Yeah.
television show, but at the same time, if it like even if there was one episode of Raw that was less than 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a month and a half ago that where the actual episode was done in just under 2 hours.
Once they cut everything, yeah. Once they did make the cuts, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, dude, like, this is great because Netflix didn't care that it was just under 2 hours. All they care about is that they get a block that they can do live programming on that they can immediately spin and put up to watch right away afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has given them a lot more freedom.
It has. I think it really upset their storytelling because, a lot of their main event of WrestleMania matches played out on that first night at Netflix. They said that.
Yeah, no,
So
you're not wrong.
I think that's been the reason that it's been sort of spinning a little bit this year.
And I think
It's a learning curve though too, especially with Netflix and them using social media more with YouTube and all that other stuff. They're definitely sort of learning as they go.
there's the combination of what you just said about a lot of the stories finishing earlier than they probably could have, plus the introduction of the whole John Cena storyline, which is just kind of run roughshod and dominated pretty much everything else. Along the way, like everything else has been kind of like a non-starter. Like as good as their use of Cena has been, and as good as the story development has been, it's kind of overshadowed everything else to the point where you can't really get anything else off the ground. And I mean, love
Like the
Kevin
last 2
Owens.
weeks. But yeah.
Love Kevin Owens. Wish him nothing but the best, especially since we're hearing now he could be gone for up to 5 years. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. But at the same time, with Kevin Owens in that card, does that change anything? Because he was going to be stuck in another match with Randy Orton for like the fourth or fifth time at WrestleMania.
Not dramatically, no.
No,
No.
I mean, again, I wish him the best, but they didn't. When they had him, they weren't doing anything with him.
Well, I think this has been one of the better versions of Kevin Owens we've had.
I'm not saying that particularly, but I'm saying you're getting the same match.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
oh my God. Who was the ultimate babyface that they spin up against whoever turns heel? Whoever the heel is with the belt after Sunday? Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
Who have they been keeping off TV for the past month? Sami Zayn.
Sammy's going to get fed. He's going to show up the first WrestleMania after, and
Yep.
he'll get fed to whoever's champ.
That's a
Because
month. That eats up a month.
if there's anything you can say about Sammy is that Sammy loses better than probably anybody else in the industry because he can do it without losing a single iota of steam. People will still love him whether he wins or loses.
he's my boy. He's my boy.
Yeah, we could tell.
On that note, I mean, it's interesting. We just sort of talked matches this year, but that's okay
Yep.
because we didn't know what the story was anyway.
Well,
Um,
we had to make some sort of semblance out of what was going on
It's
because it
true.
hasn't been really told to us.
It's true. It's been hard for us to really delve into the story when we have 20 of them and none of them are that big.
No.
But guys, this has been a lot of
But I
fun.
mean, also that's the PLE era, right?
What's
It's
that?
a question of stories can ebb and flow. Stories can come up and down. You don't have to run guys taking bumps 200 nights a year to
It's
sort
true.
of advance things. There's
Yeah.
This is the era where they're finally getting to sort of mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, sadly, this is probably over the last, hell, maybe even 10 years. This might be the WrestleMania I'm the least invested in going into it. That's not to say it's going to be a bad pay-per-view. It's not to say there's not going to be things to talk about, but I'm probably the
For me,
least
it was the
invested.
COVID mania. It was the COVID mania for me, just because I hated them being in the empty building.
And that's fair. I think the COVID mania is the only one that does rival this for least interest heading into it. But at least the COVID mania, you had the Taker versus AJ, and you had the whole Drew McIntyre saga. Whereas, I mean, for this one, I'm struggling to find two stories that are nearly as engaging as those were.
Well, I mean, this is just I'm only doing this out of obligation to our structure, but WrestleMania, screen it or skip it, given all that we've just said.
It's WrestleMania. It's always a screen it because it has evolved into such a beast where even if you don't like everything on the show, you're invariably going to have a good time watching it.
Even a bad mania is worth watching, even if it's just for the sake that you get to complain about it afterwards. Even a bad mania is worth watching.
You want to what, fire up WrestleMania 9 and go watch Undertaker and versus Giant Gonzalez again? Go for it.
Yep.
It's bad, but it'll still be fun.
Was it WrestleMania 17 that was the one that was also awful? I can't remember.
No, 17 was the one in Houston. That was a good one.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking about 19. Anyway.
I prefer Taker versus Coco Beware. That's
yeah.
Greatest
SummerSlam, taking the pile drive, taking the first tombstone for Coco.
Yeah.
Drilled him through the mat. But all right, guys. Well, this has always been fun. I always appreciate it. Do you want to sell your wares? You have the same wares, sort of.
Yeah. Pretty much. I write for him, so but I'm online through the old Elon machine, not so much anymore, but and Insta at Movie Junkie TO, and I write for In the Seats.
And as always, we are over at In the Seats, where we cover the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the movie at large with our entire team, Kirk included. And we're on the Facebook, the Insta, the X, the Blue Sky, the Threads, the TikTok, I think. A whole bunch of I'm losing complete track. We've got so much stuff going on with hot docs and all the other stuff ramping up. It's gonna be a fun month. But also we're in the seats with the podcast where I sit down with a wide ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and pick their brain about current projects, state the industry, and so very much more in light in a conversational fashion on all your favorite podcast providers and YouTube as well. When I find the hours in the day to cut and edit episodes because I'm tired. I'm tired, ladies and gentlemen. The Steve, as Steve well knows, this is a calling. This is not a job. This is something we're both killing ourselves doing.
The reason why I only write now because I know how much the rest of the stuff takes.
Well, and for our own calling, as always, you can find us wherever podcasts are available. You can like and subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us, or you can just look up ScreenFish on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and I think X, at ScreenFish Online. And of course, you can go to screenfish.net for all the latest in movie reviews.
You get your Instagram back too. So,
pardon, what's that?
You lost your Instagram for a while, but now it's back.
I did.
Yeah.
I don't know what we did, but we were gone for a little bit, but we're back. But yeah, you can follow us and continue conversation where you are, gentlemen. I always appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this. And as always, we started the conversation. This was ScreenFish.